Introduction. Yo, how do you let me see. Yo, this stuff is crazy, bro. I'm trying to figure out how to use the black the virtual background so I can look cool like everybody else.
I'm not using no virtual background. That's my straight up office.
My straight up office is my movie room.
Hey, that's what's up. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Okay.
See the screen in the back. I didn't want to see all.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did to the. You'll be all right. You can hide.
No.
Peace. That's it. I'm going.
What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, world? It's me again, Ethan Smith. Hold on 1 second, Melvin. Just hold on 1 second.
I don't know.
1 second. I'm gonna bring you in. I didn't give you enough time to update you. Give me 3 minutes, and I'm gonna bring you in. Hey, what's going on, world? It's me again, Ethan Smith, aka Big Sarge, large and in charge of my one and only self. Taking myself up off the shelf to discover my greatest internal wealth. Hoping you're doing the same for yourself. Y'all know what it is this week. It's this grunt speak grunt. That's what we do. When we come through, we speak to you. We hope you get down in the chat. You speak to us too. 11B, 11 Charlie, 11 Alpha, the officer crew, my 0311 Marine Corps crew. You know what we do. You come through, you speak, we speak to you, and we help one another make it through. Check this out. This may not be for everybody, but everybody is welcome. Some of the things that we might say today, you might want to cover your kids' ear in some way. Just don't get it confused. We are grunts, and sometimes there's some words that we use that may not be so natural to the other viewers, but it's cool. It's going to bless them if you let it. So now that I got that out the way today, y'all know my man Whiskey Charlie, who is always here with me. And as y'all can see down below, Whiskey Charlie, we got a guest. But before I get to our guest today, we want to hear what Whiskey Charlie got to say. Whiskey Charlie, what's been going on? What's up, man? It's been about 2 weeks. Fill me in.
Yeah, hey, just not a whole lot. Just work and went to go see family prior to my daughter going back to school. So I've been busy with that type of stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. School shopping, and then they want to do a final couple things before she goes back to school. So that's what I've been busy with these last 2 weeks. So man, it's been keep me steady busy between that and work. Got a new store manager at our store, so got to reprove myself and step up, and show her that what I'm capable of doing, so I can make that next move.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It's always good to see you looking slim and trim. You must still be hitting that gym real good.
That's that Texas heat, bro.
Yeah, it'll definitely dry you out. Down below me, as y'all can see, we got a guest who never know one day may be a third part of the show. We gonna call him Mr. Melvin now until he give us his handle and let us know. Let me make sure I got you on mute, my brother, just in case.
No, I just so
Okay, you cool. I'll let y'all as he's on the show and he develop his handle. We'll see what works for Mr. Melvin. But first, we want to say thank you for joining us tonight. We're gonna just open conversation. No butt hurt. No, it's be free. It's infantry. You're not gonna hurt nobody's feelings on here. So we just like to have a good time, have fun. So everybody, Melvin, help me welcome Melvin. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about some communication today, see what Whiskey Charlie got to say, see what Melvin got to say. And first, I want to, say welcome, Melvin. And is there anything you want to say before I start firing some questions your way? We let the people know
man,
who
you
you
know
are.
what I'm
What
saying?
you've been
Hey,
through.
listen, man. Listen, I understand you guys got a lot of questions to say. Bring them in. You know what I'm saying? We're here to have fun. But I ain't giving y'all my handle yet because y'all got to be ready for the Able. You know what I'm saying? But Able 7, we call myself Able 7. I will do that, right? And like I said, man, I'm just here to have fun with you guys. I know we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff. I got my son right here with me. Tips off to you. And we're here to get it in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I would get his you know what I'm saying, his pack with him, but he ain't ready to jump out no planes right now. So we getting it in.
Yeah, I see he rocking that 25th Light Infantry. So
Well,
bring-
yeah, that's
bring
just
the
one.
people
I
up
just
to
want.
speed.
I had to bring one on out. Why I bring one on out? You know what I'm saying? Well, I could just go to
Bring-
Detroit. You know what I'm saying? I would have went
Okay,
either
that's what's
or.
up. Okay.
But we gonna
Native.
keep it fresh. We gonna keep it fresh, and we gonna be military today.
While we talking communication today, while we talking to communication today, I wanted to talk about something that I was looking up on Google when I was doing my research, and it's just talking about sources of communication. You know, the source, the message, the channel, and the receiver, like these 4 steps. And of course, you go on Google, you can find 4 steps to communication, 3 steps, 7 steps. But this was familiar to me because it's what I learned in my communication class. And what's interesting, I just want to talk about how do y'all, when you look at communication, what significance does it lies in your life on a scale of just say 1 to 10? How important do you believe communication is? Just think about that for a second. And when I look at communication, it being broken down in these 4 factors: source, message, channel, receiver. And so under each one of these factors, you have topics, you have a subtopic. So say, for example, source, it would be communication skills, the skills of the individual that you're talking to. Now, we military, so if you're talking to a first sergeant, he going to have different skills than the PV1 going to have on the importance of military bearings. His verbular, gymnastics is going to be sweet. Then you have the actual message, the code, let me see, the timeline it's saying, and the elements and the things that are in place during this communication. That's a deep one, elements. And then a channel, sending, hearing, touching, feeling, they even go into your feelings, how you receiving it in the channel. And curriculum I'm sorry, let me say that again. And your nonverbal communication, when you think about the receiver. Talking about communication, it makes me think about something that me and Melvin was talking about earlier today that happened yesterday. But anyhow, those are the things that I had, and just randomly, speak freely what you may feel about communication itself and the importance it lies into your life. Let's start with our guest today, Whiskey Charlie. See what he got to say. That's Melvin. That's you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead, my brother.
Oh, so what I was saying is, what's your thought process on communication? Like, what significance do it lie to your life? I mean, it lies in your life, the importance of it on a scale of 1 to 10, based on. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's basically a 10, man. You got to think about it, man. It's communication deals with everything that you do around your life, right? Without proper communication, it can either go south, or it can help you in your career as far as like Whiskey Charlie was saying, his job, his business. It can either enhance you or it can decrease you in different levels, especially even with your children. All right. Without having a proper communication with your child, being able to listen, send and receive information, listening to your child tell you great, things that's been going on in their lives. We got to know how to actually, get ourselves into our children's lives at this point. Been in the military 20 plus years, we were always taught, hey, listen, do as I say, and basically just hop at the right spot. But we wasn't always allowed to say why, right? Depends on what level of military that you were in. If you came in later years, you could ask why. Back then, I couldn't ask why. Either, hey, I know for sure that whatever he told me is going to save me. Now, I understand something I had no. Because it's all about when you came in the military and how you were being actually, how can I say that, mentored, right? Because I noticed that in the military, in the later years of the time in the military, a lot of people was all about me. It wasn't about we or us as a team. That's why, listen, I understood how things were going when I saw it. So I saw a lot of leadership that was getting promoted. And they was all the ones that was all about me. I'm going to throw you under the bus however I can to get to where I need to go. Back then, we would fight for our soldiers. We would fight you physically and everything else. Brother, we didn't care because we knew good and well that if I told that soldier, hey, we was going to do this, to do that, he did it because I told him to do so. So that means you need to be coming to me. I'm the one that's taking responsibility. Later on down the years, I noticed that leadership, they be like, I didn't tell them to do that. Basically, that's how it went because that's how they were getting raised. I saw it, right? Yeah. So when I saw that, I said, man, don't we supposed to emulate our leadership? Listen, if your soldiers is doing it, that means he saw you doing it. He wouldn't have done it without you saying so. So that's on another topic, but I'm just stating that when I speak to my child, I want my child to say, hey, how was your day today? How did you do today? How was school? And I always told my kids, if you had a bad day that day, that means you learned something. If you always have a good day, then you're not going to learn what's going on. It just went by well. And that goes for your business or your job. So if you go through anything, just know that you're going to be able to build from that, right? As long as you get the proper guidance and the proper, it may hurt a little bit, but you're gonna go in, right? So yeah, communication is real big, man. I'm gonna leave it as that.
Nice. Whiskey Charlie, what you got for the people today, man? I know you have to communicate in a multitude of ways. You're always posting pictures of your beautiful daughter and your wife and then your job, right? So like you just said, you got a new boss and you have to learn a whole new set of communication skills, how they operate.
Yeah, I would definitely say communication, no matter what situation you're in, is definitely a 10. It's definitely a 10 in my life. Like you said, with my family, me and my wife, we constantly communicate on what we're going to do, how we're going to do certain things. And I tell you what, for me to be able to, we always, as men, we always like, oh, why is she tripping that I did this? My wife, she, as long as I communicate with her what I'm doing, and kind of give her a heads up so she doesn't plan anything else along that line. She's okay with me doing whatever I want to, pretty much. I can go out and hang out, go fishing, hey, go out and have a drink, whatever else, as long as I communicate with her. I think it's that piece right there is a big piece in a relationship. Now at work, man, I've been an assistant store manager now for going on almost 10 years, and communication is a real big key. It's a real big key point, but it's also with communication is being, detailed, on what you're talking about. That's where you also you'll get those questions of, why or what do I need to do that for, whatever else is, you'll get those if you're not detailed. Now, of course, in the military, it don't matter. In the military, they didn't give a shit. There's no why to it. You just get it done, right? But when you get in management or outside of that, if you have kids, you want to explain some details on who, what, where, when, and why, because of the fact is maybe that individual is trying to learn, that you're communicating with on that piece. So I think a big piece on that is just communicating to a detail and explaining the what, when, where, and why on those details.
That's good. That's good stuff that you said that, especially about the wives, man. I mean, you know what? I always think sometimes, listen, men are from Mars, women from Venus. How do you know what? At the end of the day, sometimes I'm always trying to figure out my wife. Like, man, did I do something wrong? If she say my name wrong, I figure, dang, did I do something wrong? No, she just wanted to show me something. So, just like I was talking to my wife earlier, and she said something. I said, man, I mean, am I in trouble? She was like, no, you ain't in trouble. I was like, man, we didn't win at it the other day because it was like the communication. But like I was telling, Big Sarge, listen, sometimes you just be in that space where you think that some people may think it's that, and it just may be your look. It may be something on your mind. So don't always jump on the fence thinking it's basically it's something with you.
Yeah. That's powerful right there. You mentioning that in itself, I thought you was going to go into the story. Like, again, full transparency. Me and I call him Melly Mel from time to time. I ain't figured out just yet, but I'll say Abel 7. Me and Abel 7 was talking earlier, and it really started on communication. I literally called him and was like, yo, I got 2 questions for you. And the question was, one was, what did you feel when I made the statement that I did about price last night? Because we were out together celebrating my wife. It's the thing she's accomplished that she's done. And so we're out having a good time as friends and family and building. And then today I had to ask him a question because I felt a certain way. And I read the body language and the nonverbal cues wrong, as we could do sometimes, because we often believe that when we communicate to ourselves, then that other individual has to be thinking that because we've already made it real in our mind. And I made something real in my mind for Mel that wasn't real. And I had to ask him, what was you thinking about that? And it was a good question that I asked because what it did was it opened up a whole new realm of communication for us in order to build and get to truly learn each other. So yeah, you mentioning that just took me back to the conversation we had earlier today and how that went and how how it worked out so much. It worked out better. Let me just say that to keep it simple. It worked out so much better because we're at this point right now. And if I would have never asked that question, like you said, you asking your wife, hey, did I do something wrong? You never know. We just go on assuming based on the thoughts that we can have for ourselves. So not even just communicating with the other person, but communicating with yourself first. Like to ask yourself, wait, am I tripping? Like, did she say that to hurt me, or did she say that because it's probably some truth in that? You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty interesting that you see that miscommunication cues is a big thing.
Hey, Big Sarge. Hey, and you said it in there. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people have is assumption, right? We believe, we are all different, right? And everybody assumes whenever we're communicating that everybody understands what we're talking about when we say things or what's going down, right? We're assuming that they understand what. Like, if we don't communicate, we assume that if I say, hey, I'm going to the store, and on the way back, I stop by and I do something else, I assume that she understands that, hey, I'm going to the store, but I'm also going to be doing this, right? But it's about, being detailed on what you're exactly going to do. It's not required, but it's just that communication piece that makes it a lot better on both ends in a relationship and also at work, right? So I think a big thing is, you can't assume that everybody knows what you're talking about because we all are different. We all do things differently. So it's good to communicate what you're doing and how you're doing it. So with the relationship and love life and stuff like that, it's good to communicate all that stuff. So if they have something else that they need you to do while you're out, so you don't have to do a double thing there, come back home, then have to run back out because we know how annoying that shit is, right? And then at work, it's good to communicate the details and communicate the details because of the fact that if you want the job done right, you got to make sure you give the specifics on what you're actually doing.
That's right. That's right. Because I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say, man, he thought that I basically he thought I was, looking at him wrong or judging him about something. And I was like, no, man, honestly, I apologize. As a man, you know what I'm saying? I care about that person. So I gotta apologize that you may have thought that. That wasn't it. I was going through something before that. You know what I'm saying? I tell this man, listen, my mind was somewhere else. I was wanting a soda. This man was giving me not the soda, but he was telling me he had everything except this. And then the soda that he had was something I don't drink. Like, dog, I'm about to eat this nice wrap, and I'm looking for this nice, cold, chilling Sprite. That's all I want. I don't want a root beer. I don't want this. I want this. I can't drink this with that because it's going to make my stomach feel a certain way. So I'm looking at this dude like, all right, nah, you giving me, I wasn't even thinking about him. I'm thinking about someone on my mind, and this guy telling me he ain't got what I want. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever had that person that told you that they had everything on the menu except for what you want? And you've been looking for this whole entire time. You're going to feel upset, right? You're going to be mad. So that's like going to the movie theater and they say, well, we got popcorn, but we don't have the butter popcorn you're looking for. We only have kernel corn. Man, that's not gonna go good with my nice Coke that I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna be a little upset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, we got regular hot dogs, but we ain't got that beef frank that you're looking for, that you could add all the toppings to it. What do you mean? If I wanted
that's pretty interesting. No, my apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just was looking at something. I was going to say that's pretty interesting that you say that, because you also don't understand the attitude or the emotional feeling that the individual may have at that time, that y'all transacting whatever y'all transacting in the conversation, whatever may be happening. You assuming that is one way, and in their mind, they're somewhere totally different. It's like you said, it's as simple as, bro, I just want to get Sprite with my rap. Y'all talking to me about root beer. Y'all talking to me about regular beer. Y'all talking to me about wine. I don't want all that. I just want a simple drink, and it don't have anything to do with the drink. In all honesty, I'm thinking about something that could have happened earlier. I'm thinking about something that could have happened yesterday. It's like when you talk to a private back in the day. Private, what you doing, man? You know we going to the range. What you doing with your Kevlar? Then you find out later on that private got a call from his wife or something happened, someone right. Like, the communication was there, but it was a breakdown in communication because his attitude and his disposition and his feelings and his emotion at that time was somewhere completely different. And it's no different than when we talking to our wives probably as men. You like, if they say, oh no, it'll be fine, I'm okay. You're like, hold on, something must be really wrong. But as men, we so straightforward. You're like, oh, you said it's fine, so I'm good. I'm on to the next thing. But they want you to read between those context clues and pick up on their energy, their facial expression, and other things. But it's like, wait a minute, that's so many layers of communication. I need to process this and break it down real quick. With our soldiers, like Whiskey Charlie said, it was probably a little bit easier because, in the military, you couldn't really say no to your leadership. Like, that wasn't a thing. And I know you said as times change, and that was one of the reasons I was getting out too, even in the National Guard. Like, the respect level, it wasn't the same. The standards wasn't the same to what I got in on. So the communication breakdown was really getting serious. Go ahead, Mel.
You know the difference between a great leader and a leader that's a person you want. Every time you could tell when you got a good leader, when everybody don't try to just escape from you when you walk down the hallway.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So as a great leader, I always learn to not take use my rank as a weapon.
Absolutely.
I wanted them to be open to me whenever there's a communication, because there's something that I could save that soldier's life. He could be on the verge of committing suicide.
Absolutely.
or committing a homicide. You never know. So I said, let me step back and let he may say, I might get him right then if it's a disrespect. Now after that, after I done got him on the right path, let's communicate. Sometimes I say, hey, if they work with me one-on-one, if we work together like that, what I want to do is not give them too much reign of being able to do that all the time. But then again, let's communicate. What's going on? I never seen you act like this. What is it? Is there something going on? Besides, then they come out.
Hey, I have the same thing at work, man. I've been working at this place so long that I can see when people are not feeling themselves on a day-to-day basis. And I try to. My first thing is I don't always approach and go with demands on what I'm wanting from them at work. Everything else, I go up to them and I communicate with them like, hey, what's going on, bud? How was your day? Because I work nights, so how was your day? How's everything going? I try to take it away because we all, we go to work. We all there to work. We all, we want to go there, get paid, and go home and enjoy ourselves with this, that, and the other. But I try to, make it more personal, and just trying to communicate with them. Of course, something outside of work, and then I work in the communication of what the objective of the day is from that point.
That's dope. That's good. So that's allowing you to be able to, have them to feel comfortable with you as you being the leader, because that's when you'll find a lot more things. They'll be a lot more honest with you. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to get a lot more things done that way. And it all makes sense. So just like I had a lot, listen, those guys would go in, hey, listen, we're going to combat and back and forth. We didn't matter because those guys knew they had my back and I had theirs, right? And that goes for anything, even in life. So even when, Big Sarge and I were talking, we was like, man, you know what? It's hard for me to, have somebody as a mentor and I got to walk on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? If I say something or do something, then they might look at me like, what's really going on? Am I going to make the wrong decision? No. That's when communication needs to be intertwined like that so we can understand each other. No, it ain't like that, man. You know what I'm saying? When it's time to kick in the doors and clear these rooms, it's business. It's business at that point, right? But when we're out, we're doing our thing, it's time to relax. Kick your shoes off, kick your feet up. Let's do whatever. Let's have fun. Just like we did when we was back then. It was, we played hard and we work hard. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a time to have that restoration where you could be comfortable with that person without them looking like, oh man, is he gonna look at me different? Nah, I still would, just coming out of the military, because they taught you that 20 plus years, man. 20 years, 7 months, 23 days, and some hours. Trust me, because I was trying to get my cleanup papers. Now, mind you, brother, when it took a lot for me to break a lot of the militariness out, right? To the point where I had to hide some things. I could fill this wall up and back again with plaques all over the place, right? All right, even on the back of the wall, you know what I'm saying? I had to shallow it, but I got stuff I got stuff I ain't even put up. I had to hide from it because, I was like, man, if not, I will consistently be that. Everything will be like military. I had to let sometimes my kids mess up without me going crazy, right? It's like I have to get out of that because they're not soldiers, right? They're my children. So I had to make sure they was like comfortable with me, right? By allowing them to know you it's okay for you to be a child, right? You're gonna tell something every now and again, but if you're doing it intentionally, you're gonna get in trouble. Look at my baby girl. So she's one of the one.
Yeah.
They check on me, guys. You got it. So you checking on me. So it happens like that. So it's all a big 360-degree circle of how we must communicate, because we can rub
Absolutely.
that. I mean, people, man, fall out with their parents because they didn't understand. They ain't taught their parents in years. Like, I don't know how you can do that, right? You got to make it up. Find out what was the problem. Somebody's gotta grab the kahunas to be the man or the woman to say, listen, I was wrong. Whatever you felt, it's okay. Let me know. That's grown men and women business. That's how we're supposed to do, right? So we can fight to see another day, because you only got one parent, right? So just like my older son, he figured out, he said, man, you was always gone. Man, heck yeah, I was deployed so many times. I was always in the field. If I went in the field, I was deployed or I was going to do something else, right? But I was always trying to make enough time. It just wasn't enough. 2 weeks or a week wasn't enough of time spending, especially if you're not with the wives, right? So that's another story. After being, this is my fourth wife, man. You know what I'm saying? You could tell that's military age right there. You got four.
Absolutely. Whiskey Charlie.
That's a whole nother.
Hey, that's a whole nother conversation right there, Whiskey Charlie. We really gonna get into some stuff. That's what's the name though? You know what? That's common. That's common in the military on the active duty lifestyle. Now, I told you earlier, myself, I did 15 years in the National Guard. I think Whiskey Charlie did 10 years in the National Guard. Our previous co-host, he did maybe 8 to 12 years on active duty as well, out at Fort Hood. But
yeah, man,
that's a common.
Yeah, I'm active, so I was everywhere. Hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
2-5, 3 Corps, 25th, 10th Mountain Division, Fort Benning. What you want, man?
Hey, but they use you like a filthy whore, man. They just pass you.
No, I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, it was a great run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did everything, man. Was part of the Command Staff Advisor and Assistant Team. I was an actual, advisor for, General Dunford. Did it all, man. I had fun.
Yeah.
So, you was a Marine, right?
No, he Army.
No, Army? Yeah, I could tell by the. Man, listen. I didn't work with the Marines. I didn't work with the Special Ops, Special Forces, Delta, what you want. Done it. Have fun. You know what?
You know what's so funny about that?
Man, Joe Tansey, man, I ain't never seen no leader like that yet.
You say all that, and just what I thought about that to myself was, again, knowing how to communicate, because it's other people who have probably had the opportunity to get in that position that you was in, to be in those circles, to be in those groups, but they didn't have the right communication or maybe even the right confidence. They didn't have the right body language to feel like they fit. A lot of times communication starts before you even open your mouth. Most times communication starts before you open your mouth, because those nonverbal cues are they're screaming so much louder than verbal cues. It's like, again, I'm a black guy from the west side of Detroit. So if I went to the suburban area and I was walking, looking a certain way, nonverbal cues made those people in that area where I live in now feel threatened. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, before you even say anything out of your mouth, people read energy a certain way. Again, going back to my point, you probably wouldn't have been in those positions if you didn't have the right communication skills, and knowing who you were, because I think that's one of the most important things in communication. We talked about, both of y'all kind of mentioned communicating with your wife, communicating with your kids, communicating with your employer, and those are all things I experienced. But some of the greatest communication I ever had is when I started really communicating with myself, challenging myself, holding myself accountable for what I needed to do next, what I want to do next, understand I need a mentor. And I think it was because of those things, of knowing who you are and looking at life like, oh, this ain't no big sweat. You was able to move in different circles and get into those groups. It was like no different for me in the National Guard. I feel like started out, went to do active duty, and I don't claim it like that because of how I got out. But my time in the National Guard, I have no regrets for, because I accomplished and surpassed being the soldier or the individual that I thought I could be. And you said something about leaders, like when you walking down the hall, do your guys scatter from you, or do they want to be around you? Like Whiskey Charlie is one of my people, one of my guys from back in the day. My other buddy, who was on the show was a guy from basic training that I met, you know, at Bennett back in 02. So it was just like, yeah, when you have the right leadership skills and you know who you are and you wear it well, then people gravitate towards you and they want to be around you. Whiskey Charlie speak about that often at times at his workplace. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty cool. Whiskey Charlie, you're pretty quiet over there. What you think about all that? What me and Mr. Abel been talking about?
Hey, yeah, no, with work, you know, like y'all saying about people about scattering and this, that, and the other. People at my workplace love who I am. Of course, they ask the district and region people come to the store and ask, you know, about the assistant managers, and all of them will bring up my name. They say I communicate, I train everybody. I'm willing to listen. That's part of that communication, though, too, is just listening. Sometimes just keeping your mouth shut and just listening, and that's what I do. I slow it down. I try to slow down and just listen to them, because every now and then when you communicate, some things that's coming up out of your mouth that just doesn't need really to be said, or you're not 100% sure on things. So, you know, sometimes just listening to what people have to say, and maybe it'll work out better for whatever job or whatever thing you have that you got coming up, whatever obstacle, I guess you could say. But that's I have several people that will always tell me that if I'd ever leave the store, they would leave the store too and go to whatever store I'm at.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, that's good. You got a good team. I mean, that's good. You're showing them how to be leadership. You know what I'm saying? How to be a great leader, because they're gonna follow you from that point, and then when it's time for them to get promoted, you know, and people watch, you know, I bet you your higher ups are watching you to see how you're gonna react to situations. Does he fold under pressure? You know what I mean? Does he communicate well? Is he sound when it comes to acting on, you know, tough situations or easy, great situations? So they're looking at you at that, and then you got the bottom guys looking at you too, because then you could tell, because they'll come to you, just like you stated. People are like, yo, they want to know who is the assistant manager. So that's good. That's good that you got that type of communication, and also you're doing what you're doing to get to that next level. I pray that you get promoted. You know?
Yeah, hey man, I just take it day by day, man. That's just what it is. I don't try to rush anything. I've learned that over the years. Now I'm only 35, but I don't try to rush anything. So I just come in, do what I'm supposed to, make sure that my team's doing what they're supposed to, make sure I'm communicating. And at times, again, part of that communication, I always ask them though too. It's like, hey, what do you think will work best, right? Because I want them to have that feedback, that input into it too, because it makes them feel stronger as an individual by listening to what they think would work best. Now, if it's something that it's against, you know, company guidelines or something like that along the line, then I'll, you know, redirect them. But outside that, I try to give them the opportunity to tell me, communicate to me what'll be most effective.
Right, that's good. So you're getting their input, right, just to see how their mind works, because then you're actually finding out who you can go to in tough situations or during certain situations to get things done in case that you need to step out, right? So
Yeah.
who do you think that could be in that position because you're out? Well, who do you think we should promote next? And you're gonna be like, hey, this person right here, he's on point, he's on key.
Oh yeah, yeah. You always try to find what we just talk about at my workplace is always you know, find people's strengths and weaknesses, and of course I try to challenge their weaknesses to make it better. But you know, to see where that stretch is, right? They say everybody's like an elastic band, you know, and most of the store managers will challenge you and stretch you, keep stretching you until you snap to find that point where they know that they need to work with you on.
Yeah, but you know what? You know, stretching is good because stretching builds the confidence in a person. Stretching does a lot of things for a person, and you know, even you know, because I'm an actual, you know, a regional vice president, all right, of a financial company, and I tell you this, a lot of people, all right, in order for them to build their business, you gotta know how to stretch. You gotta know how to stretch it out. And by them doing that, they learn different things in there where they can actually they see they can go further than where they thought they can go. Right?
Yeah, they learn more of their abilities.
Yeah, it's like sticking your hand in a plastic bag. You'll pull, push, and push and push until you break through to that next level, right? Then you'll know how to deal with things that come up. Because if you don't go through anything, how in the world are you going to learn from what you went through? That's why I always tell my kids, man, if you haven't had a challenge today, man, you didn't learn anything today. Because you didn't have a challenge, right? So challenges can become a good thing. Some people want to do have jobs and where it's just basically easy. But when it's just too easy, you get complacent. And we all know what happens when you become complacent. You will mess around and either get killed or get someone else killed, or you'll just take shortcuts.
Yeah.
And shortcuts never work, especially when you're trying to build and stretch to grow and be another spot. If not, then I guess you want to be average. I want to be beyond average. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between being average and sub-average. I want to be beyond. I want to be the best. So average is not really good for me. So that's why I take things when it comes to I gotta be like super serious at points, but then I gotta learn how to. No, okay, I gotta let the person grow. If I go in and try to save him every time when they're speaking to a client, if I just jump right in, like at certain points I have to, but on sometimes I gotta let them go through the fight, right? Because repetition is the key. If you do it enough times, you'll get better and better and better at it, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Do it enough times, you get better. But as soon as you just do it sometimes and then you do it, you don't do it, you do it. You got to be continuous. You got to be consistent. That's how you get great, man. And communication. If you don't communicate a lot, then you won't know how.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, you got to communicate consistently, but also you got to make sure you're communicating. Of course, when it comes to being fair with everybody on the same type of communication, right? You can't. I know that you can approach certain people. You got to learn who you can talk to in certain ways.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some people at work I can come up and say, "Hey, what's up, you dumb motherfucker," and they'll respond right back, right? But then there's some people you try to come off that way, and they'll be like, "Okay, I got to go talk to HR on your ass."
Yeah. No, man. Listen. What I do is, from that point right there, depends on who you messing with, right? But when I'm dealing with people, I gotta have a guideline, a baseline. So that's teaching them how to be as such. If you got that guy that is used to you saying that, he's gonna slip up and say that to someone else. So what I would do is, if he's your boy or whatever and y'all off work, then you good. But when we at work, sometimes you gotta keep it because you want him to understand that, hey, off time is off time. We do whatever. But when we here, we gotta be here. Because if not, someone's watching.
Yep.
Somebody, go ahead.
No. You saying that's powerful because I think being an individual, again, having a lot of active duty friends and a lot of National Guard friends and a lot of guys from National Guard, from active duty coming to National Guard. I think that's one of the distinct differences right there between active duty and National Guard. Like active duty would probably more so snap back into making sure we do what's right up under the regs. When National Guard, it was a little bit more lax. It was a little bit more personal because a lot of these individuals, just like you've seen them every day with active duty, National Guard might have been your buddy, you live with or whatever, you was close to or something like that. And it was a little bit more lax in that sense. And sometimes it was harder to get people to get back within the regs because the lines of communication had been crossed from superior to subordinate. And a lot of times, like you were just talking about, even with our kids, parents sometimes cross that line with the kids first. And then they make the kids feel comfortable with crossing that line, and then they snap back. It's like a breakdown of communication in there. So just hearing you say that, you never know who's watching or what's going on. And I've ran into a lot of individuals in the National Guard who was that same way. Like you can smoke and joke with them behind the scenes, but when we out here in garrison, when we out here, we can be seen. Make sure you keep your military bearing. And for some people who didn't understand that simple communication, they couldn't do it. And that's how you get stuck pretty much in life. Like you talked about, being average or living a mediocre style life because you're not understanding the importance of structure. And communication is really about structure. Like when you're speaking and you're listening, it's two totally different things. And I really had to learn that, hone in on that. Like, I'm not listening just to respond, which I used to do before, because you want to get your point across. When I'm listening, I'm actively listening to understand what the individual is saying to me so I can give a well-thought response. You know what I'm saying? And when you allow people to cross that line or dance on that threshold, it becomes a problem. Just saying all that to say, in some National Guard units, I can definitely see that being more of a problem than it was in an active duty unit because they didn't do it every day. But it is also at the same time, I've met some National Guard guys who've had a tighter personal bond than I have with active duty guys because it was more so regimented in structure. And then just really looking at how you guys decide to communicate. And that is very important. You know, you got the sender, you got the receiver, you have attitudes that go inside of that thing. You have, you know, touch, feel, and smell. Like the body language is so crazy before you even get to the words. Then it's a powerful thing. It's like back in the day, Mel, you talked about old school Army and attitude. When I got in 99, it was like a true infantry soldier, especially if you had old BDUs. You had starch whites and high shine boots. And if you came in and your uniform was tacky or you was ate up, then that automatically communicated that you was a soldier that didn't care. You not about your military bearing, but if you showed up with spit shine boots and your BDUs was pressed, oh, this soldier squared away. He about business. You know what I'm saying? So you were communicating without saying anything. And for Whiskey Charlie, us being that mindset, even with the ACUs, like you had some people that show up look like they just took them things out the balled up laundry basket. And you had some people who showed up where they still was Orient, they just wasn't pressed like that. And their uniform, it was on time, so it communicated a totally different thing, man. So I think those nonverbal cues is just as important as those verbal communications.
Some guys with messed up uniforms, man. Learned that they were just nerds, man. They just knew how to do computer stuff. You know what I'm saying? We put them in the orderly room.
But when it comes to that though, too, that again, like y'all were saying, you know, as like a visual type of communication, maybe that's the individual that you need to pull off to the side and have a communication and see if everything is going on right personally outside of work and or the military, because again, like you were saying, you don't know what Joe was even thinking at the time. All they know is they were late. Hey, they're just trying to get there and trying to be that punk, be there and show up, but they got shit going on at the house that fight with the old lady or whatever else. Maybe that's that. Pull it off to the side. Okay, hey, what's going on? What you got going on? You came in all kinds of scruffed up and fucked up. Let's what's going on, man?
Yeah, I remember that one time, man. But you know what? That you right about that, Charlie. I remember, man. I used to go through it, man. But I think my outlet was making sure that I was squared away, my uniform, haircut, no matter what. I was at work, man, doing my thing. I did whatever they needed me to do. I think that was my outlet. I think the military was my outlet. So one time we had a big argument, right? Me and the wife, ex-wife at that. This joker threw my stuff out, man. We at Fort Drum. She threw all my BDUs out in the snow. She threw the iron and the ironing board out there.
She wanted to help you be prepared.
Like just throwing my stuff out in the yard, all the gear and everything. She knows that's what that means a lot to me. But she didn't understand that I was doing this for the family. I said, dude, do you not know? This is easy. I look good. I do what they tell me to do, and I get promoted.
Pretty much.
I said that's the easiest thing that a private can do. So when I made PV2, I said, look, see, I told you, that's more money in our pocket. even though it was like probably, I don't know, $100, maybe $50, maybe
Yeah.
$30.
You were still under $1,000 a month.
I was definitely under $1,000. All the way to PFC.
Yeah, because I
We
know
were
not
still under
only
$1,000 a month.
Yeah,
I could not believe. I still can't believe how much money that I wasn't making.
That's a whole nother conversation right there.
That's a whole nother conversation. They give you $100, they take back 99.
For real.
They gave me $700 when I made. I think PFC is special. I'm like, man, we getting paid nothing. But you know what?
Nothing. You don't need it for nothing though.
They gave me my. Hey, listen, we had a place to stay. We had a roof over our head. We was eating something.
Yeah.
We was eating, and that was good. So I had separate rations. What they give you, like $200
Mm-hmm.
a month? Just imagine, how can everybody eat off $200? $223, I remember, for the whole family. And if you, God forbid, if you had 10 kids or something, they're only going to give you separate rations, whether you have 1 kid, 2 kids, or 10 kids.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, man. It was like you had to, if not, you be out the army and then you ain't had no medical or nothing for the kids or nothing. So it was, my thing was to get promoted as fast as I could and do whatever they needed me to do. You know, in Fort Drum, they had you sleeping out in the snow and ice, you know, out in the field, cold as I don't know what. You wake up like a Frosty's the snowman. But your family was at home chilling in the heat. So it was something for me.
That was probably before we had Gore-Tex sleeping bags. You probably had the old green canvas bag at one point in time, especially in the infantry, because I had that one.
And when it got wet, you was wet.
Yeah, you was wet. You was miserable.
You was wet.
Too. And it was heavy.
The thing was bigger than my rucksack.
Yeah.
So when they made the Gore-Tex, that was a blessing.
Yeah.
Then, as an infantryman, what you gonna do? You're gonna strip it down. Listen, I only need the small green part.
Yeah.
I take the black part out. As long as I got the sack, I was good. I even got better than that. You know how you make your own whoopee, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get the actual liner. I used to have the nice Korean lady to put a zipper on it.
Nice.
With a wet weather bag that was zipped to it, so it zips. It was a sleeping bag. I think that's how they figured out how to make that Gore-Tex, because we made those whoopies, and they said, you know what? If we could do that with this, with the type of material it was, it's gonna stay warm. It's gonna be weatherproof. Man, this is a lit. Yo, they made money off that. I remember when we had when I was in Iraq. No, I was in Afghanistan. We took the pockets off the side and put them up here. We took the pockets and sewed it up here. Right before they had those Velcros, we created it. We created that. Me and my guys, I remember that. We all look high speed because we made it look like a flight suit. Right? That's how we took the pockets from the bottom part and put it up here where it was easy for us to get our ID tags out. So all of a sudden, they came out with the idea to do that, because I would turn them sideways like this so I could rip it out and get it and come out with it, because I had to get it out of my vest. It was safer in my vest.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
that's crazy.
And then we put them on the sides. We got real after we did this. If we was going through and out of the gates, it was here easy to get out. And then we start taking the pockets and putting them on the side here. And that's how they came out with that part. Well, we was getting I got pictures of that.
It's like creating a new sandwich at Burger King or McDonald's. You know, all those sandwiches they come out with, is some employee back there Just like, what would this look like if I put this in the grease instead of on the broiler, and I add this instead of that? And they like, you know,
some drunk or high ass associate back there making their own sandwich, fucking up and sending it out. Like, oh, bro, that's the best shit ever.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's how a lot of those things come about. I mean, again, those nonverbal cues, you just doing the things that's gonna make you happy. You doing the things that you enjoy. You self-aware of what you like and what's going on. You don't have to say anything, but they got the right to watch everything when you working for their business, and they got the right to create that thing and develop it. So soldiers has always taken things. Infantry soldiers definitely has always taken what the Army has given them and made it more useful in some shape, form, or fashion by modifying it or adding to it. It's like camelbacks. I remember when I got in basic training and the camelbacks was first starting to come out, or you hadn't really seen none of them like that. Me and my guys was going to get, nobody was doing this. Nobody we seen in basic training. We was going to get those camel straws and drop in our 2-quart canteen right in the middle of our backpack and using that thing like a camelback. And I remember our drill sergeant telling us, like, nah, y'all can't do that. What you think you do in private? Like, you don't drink out your canteen like everybody else. I'm like, ain't nobody this efficient. And then before you know it, camelback was all over every little military base.
You know, they have the straws on the for the pro mask. They had the straws outside you can suck out of your canteen.
Yeah, out of your canteen. But I'm talking about, I would take my 2-quart when you can go in there back in the day by the extra long straw. And then you make that part of your 2-quart and throw that over. Yeah. So, yeah, I know what you're talking about, though, because you needed that canteen top if you was going to drink through that pro mask, or you was going to be in trouble. You was going to have a rough one. You was going to have a rough one.
There's not no Kool-Aid in it.
Nah. But you know what? Even in all that, with being in the military, whether you did active duty, whether you did National Guard, whether you did Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force, whatever you did, even the Coast Guard, like there are ways of communicating to make you more successful in what you're actually and in the craft that you're actually partaking in at that time. And if you learn the communication of that tribe or that group of individuals that you're a part of, then it makes you more successful. It's like I would tell my children, like, nobody's smarter than you. They just speak a different language. Like if you want to be an engineer, then go start hanging out with engineers and start reading their books and learn their communication skill and learn their language. And then before you know it, you'll fit right into that mold. And it's the same thing with the military, and it's kind of the same thing in life. We become the company that we keep based on the conversation that we hear. And sometimes we get stuck in places like PTSD is a real thing. Everybody on here has dealt with that at some shape, form, or fashion or level. But it's like the more you allow yourself to be comfortable enough to communicate it, the easier it is to deal with certain things that you struggle with in PTSD. The more you allow yourself to communicate with your wife, the easier it becomes to deal with and have certain conversations and know, okay, you're not coming for me, you're actually for me to get better. So I think that like going on Google or finding that book, the seven steps to effective communication, like reading and that's what I do a lot of in coaching, like reading and understanding how communication really works and knowing that it's a two-way street, not just a one-way track, then I think that will make you more successful in life, especially if you become a better listener, listening to understand and not just reply. And you said something earlier, Abe of 7, talking about again, when you come out to the hallway and your soldiers want to be around you, that lets you know as a leader, you possess great communication skills because they want to hear what you have to offer them. And that transitions to just people in everyday life. Whiskey Charlie talked about it with his job, you know, people that I encounter is just that certain energy. So that confidence, being aware of who you are and how you communicate, man, that'll take you all the way to the top. And I think that's powerful. You just got to use the right ammunition out of your mouth, your words, and say those things, speak those things into existence to where you want to be, not where you currently at. Whiskey Charlie, what you watching over there, man? Football game?
Yeah.
I should have known you watching some Sunday Night Football or something because your eyes is glued to the top of the screen.
I'm just watching retakes and stuff like that. The NFL Network actually came out with a premium they have this year with Red Zone and stuff like that. So it's like $15 a month, and you can watch all the games and replays and highlights and stuff like that. So, you know, it's only preseason, but I like to keep up with. I like to watch it all and keep up with all that stuff because I'm about to start my fantasy football.
Well, yeah, you know me. I don't. Now that Tom Brady retired, I don't see me watching too much more football at this point in time. I might catch a game or two.
Detroit's actually good now, bro. So you gotta watch it.
What was that?
I said Detroit's actually good now, so you gotta watch it.
Bro.
Detroit hitting this year, man. I'm with you. He ain't gotta watch. Bro. He ain't a true fan. You know what I mean?
Somebody else told me that, man. I rock with winners. Detroit Lions not winners.
Hey, they are gonna be this year.
Statistically, hold on. Hey, I'm from Detroit. I'm not man. Listen, bro.
What?
Y'all, the Lions, you talked about average and mediocrity. We celebrate 8-8. Don't get it twisted. Detroit fans get on this bandwagon every year about this our year, and when it ain't our year, it's just like that's the Lions. So y'all gonna have to give me more than that to get me to be on the bandwagon. Like I rock with winners. TB12 for the winners. At New England, at Tampa Bay. I'm not going to do that with y'all.
I don't have a designated team. Like I'm rocking with you every year. I'm with the winners. But I know for sure that these jokers were kicking behind last year, and they ended strong at the end of that.
Hey,
so
listen
this year,
to me.
you just watch.
Hey, I'm not gonna watch because I seen them do good in 1991 when they had Herman Moore, Johnny Morton, Barry Sanders. I seen them do good with Megatron and Stafford.
You already missed it.
Listen, I'm not. It ain't even just the Lions. Like I'm at a point in time and stage in my life now where I don't have 3 hours to give watching somebody else's life while I'm still building mine anyway. And I dang sure not finna spend it on the Lions of all people. I'll watch the Michigan Wolverines for 3 hours, but I'm not watching the Lions.
I would watch a couple games for you.
Well, I appreciate that. That's why they got YouTube and ESPN because the best parts are on the highlights.
Listen. I don't watch it directly live because just like the fights, man. Listen, I watch it on YouTube. I'm not going to pay them $100 to watch this guy fight for 6 rounds.
Nope.
I'm going to see it anyway. Because even if you're on YouTube, somebody's got it on live somewhere.
I'm the same way, man. It's a big fight. I stopped paying that $99, $150 for pay-per-view. I wake up the next morning, catch the highlights on YouTube. It's like using the Cliff Notes. I ain't got all day to be doing all this. I don't understand the value of my time.
If the fight happened at this time, just know if you wait a couple hours on YouTube, they probably got the whole fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man, I'll put it like this, and I'll kind of end it for this for football. It would be good to see the Detroit Lions do well, you know what I'm saying, consecutively. But I'm not holding my breath on anything like that. Like some franchises, I don't even think that the team doesn't want to be good. I just think the ownership doesn't really make a difference to them if they're good or not, because this is a business and they making money. People in Detroit gonna sell out that stadium, win or lose, because y'all used to average. No offense. We were used to that when it came to football. The Pistons won, the Tigers won in the 80s. The Red Wings was the only thing we had to rock with. So when the Lions hit the playoffs, we super excited. It would be great to see them do well. I think it'd be good for the city. But I'm not holding my breath on that. Not at all. I'm not. Like, that's just communication
I'm not really strung out on it like that. I don't care. I'm just saying, I have a lot of teams I like to watch. The thing is, I just know that these guys are actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, I see. For me, I don't think I have a team
now. After my man left and went to, he got his first championship.
Yep.
So Now they're building and getting people like they need. I don't know where they finding the money at, but they got it.
I wish them the best of luck. Maybe somebody's got the right communication skills in the front office. I will say this though. Their head coach, I think, is Dan Quinn. He got the communication skills to fire up that locker room. And if they give him the time, he probably can do something well with that team because he has the players' attention. But that's what it's all about. A lot of times people say one thing and they do something different. Like we in a society now, everything is hot and ready. They're not giving these coaches 10 years to develop a true program. You got to win for me and win for me now, or else we changing everything up. And for an organization like the Lions, that's difficult. Like you can't do that. You bringing in new systems every year. That would be like the Army. The Army has a system in place. Like they've had this system for years. You know what I'm saying? From junior leadership to senior leadership, it's like you need to know jobs 2 levels above you, 2 levels below you. So it's like if you don't, we're going to get your team leader. And if your team leader don't know, we get your squad leader. Like somebody's always accountable. When I think you look at the Lions, you know what I'm saying? Oh, come on over here, Kibby. You have faith in them if you want to. I'm not worried about the damn Lions. I focus on the Wolverines.
Kick his crutches.
Kibby is my old school squad leader. We was in Iraq together. I had to save him a multitude of times. I was his Black Hope.
We need Kibby on so he can say what happened really. Because you just saying this because he ain't on here talking.
Hey, let him get over here. Yeah, he know I'll send him a link. He can get over here, man. Hey, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself, but nobody's gonna change my mind state on the damn Detroit Lions. And I'm not a bandwagon fan. If they win, I'll be like, congratulations, and I'm gonna move on. I ain't gonna get no jersey, no baseball caps.
Listen,
none of that.
The man moved to Texas, now he's a Dallas fan. Oh.
No, I am not a Dallas fan. I said it and I was very clear. Now that Tom Brady is not playing football, I probably won't watch it because I've been watching him since the 90s in his Michigan days when him and Charles Woodson was on the same team.
I think that he may jump back in for like 1 year, I think.
I would hate to see him do that. Go sit down.
He's on broadcast. I don't know if he's with CBS or Fox, but he's on one of those now. He's going to be after this year. He's supposed to be on it. He signed a healthy contract. His contract with them is so much money that it's more money than he made through his whole fucking football career.
Yeah, I think he signed. I definitely won't jump on the Lions bandwagon when they win it. You know why? Because I won't know they winning because I won't be following their ass. So you ain't got to worry about that. I won't be following them. But I tell you one thing for sure. When the end of the season come around and I check their record and y'all still crying about they didn't get to the first round of playoffs, don't be mad when I say I told you so. Don't be disappointed.
Terrible.
Winners wins and losers lose. Look at the history of it. Look at the history of it. Look at the history of it, bro. The Lions is a tax write-off for the Fords. That's like they toilet paper money probably. They're not thinking about the Lions. So anybody from Michigan that don't like it, there you go. Deal with it. I'm not going to change it up. I'll watch the Michigan.
So are you a Michigan fan?
I'm a Wolverines fan. Absolutely.
Win, lose, or draw?
Win, lose, or draw. I'll rock with the Michigan Wolverines football team. I don't watch basketball, but I'll support them. I watch football.
Make sure that we're watching because I'm going to go against Wolverines just because you like them now.
Cool. That ain't bother me none.
That's good. I'm from Detroit. I'm still gonna go against them because you is talking trash about a team that you just don't like.
No, I'm speaking reality because this is what happens every year for the Lions since I was a young lad and a Lions fan. Detroit people are in denial. We go through this every single year, and now it's to the point to where it's affecting the world. Everybody's saying this is the Lions' time. I hope it is for them. But in seeing, when I'll believe it for them when I see it. Because I didn't see the hype too many times and the belief wasn't there. You putting up banners that say we 8-8. That's celebratory. That's average, bro.
Do you remember when Detroit was about to have, it was way back in the days. They was about to have another football team. They was going to have another football team It was called the Panthers or something like that. Remember that?
I thought that was like a semi-pro team.
It was
Or was
something
it-
I remember.
Or was it like a USFL team? I mean,
It
don't
was
get me
something
wrong.
they was gonna create it. I think I was a young boy back then. I think. It was
Yeah. I do remember the Panthers that you're talking about. I wonder if it was
sixth grade.
part
I
of
think I was
that
in
league.
fifth and sixth grade.
Yeah.
I think I was in fifth and sixth grade.
I mean,
Seventh-
I remember,
seventh
you know,
grade.
your Billy Sims, of course. Barry Sanders was my guy for the Lions. And then we had some good receivers. We had some good defensive players. I don't really know what their issue is. I believe it's way up high. I don't really think it's really a big deal for the owners whether they win or lose because the stadium sells out. This is a business. Like, let's not get this confused. You got all type of luxury taxes and everything like that. When you start winning, you buy new Super Bowl rings. If I'm still making money and it's a liability for me and not a liability for the people who's in Fandemonium, what am I tripping on? So yeah, I don't. It's no different than, no offense, the New England Patriots before Bill Belichick and Tom Brady got there and Robert Kraft bought the team. They was losers just like the Lions. Nobody was rocking with the Patriots in the 70s and the 80s. Bill Parcells came in, brought his little protege, Bill Belichick. They got Tom Brady, who didn't know no better, who was 199th pick, just happy to be there. And Bill Belichick was able to mold his quarterback into his system and teach him so much that they was effective together. They was married. Like, you don't do this without a system. And the Lions are like other teams. They don't have a system. You hot for 2 or 3 years and then you out. So communication is key, bro. They not saying the right things to each other.
That's right.
But no, man. We're an hour and 15 minutes in, and it's time to go ahead and end. I know I'm seeing some interesting text messages, one of my telegrams that I might need to look into. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the people go. But before we do that, I got one last question for you. What are your thoughts on the night? What are your final thoughts just based on communication and just your whole entire how the conversation went? And then please don't forget down in the chat, welcome our guest, Mr. Melvin. Hopefully he'll be back. But Whiskey Charlie, how's your night in? What are your final thoughts, my brother?
Hey, I think, and man, I know that I say I communicate pretty effectively right now, and I say I do with a lot of things working. But I think, you know, piggybacking off of Melvin, it's about being consistent with it. You know, it's about being consistent with the communication, and you know, learn a few things on there, of course, about the communication on, you know, hey, you know, we can communicate this way, of course, outside of work or at this time, but hey, when we're doing this, it needs to be a different type of way, and we need to be more professional, I guess you would say. So, man, took some good stuff back, but just you guys, communication is key. I know everybody's heard it before, but it definitely is, and it'll make things a lot better, not just with work, not just in the military, but in your love life. You've got to communicate everything. It seems annoying, whatever else, about having to communicate everything you do. But if you communicate, things will be a lot better the longer the run. So just make sure you communicate with your significant other and let them know, you know, what's going down, what you're doing, whatever else. So you as a husband or whatever else, don't have to make those multiple trips. You know how much we hate doing that shit.
Mr. Able 7, Melly Mel, what do you have for the people as we end as well tonight? What are your final thoughts for the night?
Well, hey man, I'm just hoping that everybody, you know, basically got some nuggets from this or some aha moments. You know, like I said, communication, you know, rules everything around you. You know what I'm saying? Being able to communicate effectively. You know, make sure that you're sound at whatever you do. Go hard at whatever you do when it comes to, you know, whatever you're doing in life. And great leaders come from, you know, great success stories when it came to communication, because communication kept me alive in combat. I'm not gonna lie. Kept me alive in combat. When we went out there and did the op order and we got the Frago or whatever not, we knew how to communicate with our team, our squad, our platoon, our company, depends on what size that you were dealing with. and we knew exactly how we was gonna get down. Right? Everybody was on board, and whoever, like I said, got complacent with the communication, we knew that they had to go and leave. Somebody gonna die messing with that person. So communication is a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can be rapidly improved at whatever you do, and the quality of whatever you do can become a great part of your life. So whatever you do, be a strong communicator, man, because you never know. It can save your life, but then again, it can enhance your career or your love life. And make love to your wife. Communicate with her. It's all part of their success. You might have one of these. Straight from 8 to 7, baby. Let's go. Just don't have twins. Just don't have twins. So if he ain't giving you the blue pill, make sure you down on that now. Hey, it work.
Hey, that's crazy. Hey, man. First off, I want to thank our guest, Abel 7. And again, like I said earlier, hopefully he'll come back and tune in, and we'll see as time goes along how it works for him, how it works for us. And of course, my brother from another mother, Mr. Whiskey Charlie, who's always here with me, doing what he do, coming through when he's not working and doing everything he's doing the family. And then, of course, I want to thank y'all tuning in. Kibby, it's nothing but love, but I won't be pissed. It'll be okay. Thank you for tuning in today. When you go back and you catch this video later, be sure to make sure you put something down in the comment. You share the video with somebody that needs it. Communication is how you grow. You can do a number of things in life, but if you don't learn how to communicate right or effectively, you might be stuck in the same place that you've always been, where you don't want to be, or where you feel like you're not progressing. So take the time to get in those uncomfortable conversations, put yourself in those uncomfortable situations with your mentor, your coach, your wife, even sometimes the uncomfortable conversation with our children, because your children are always honest. They're going to hold you to it. Daddy, you said you're going to do A, B, and C. Mama, you said you're going to do A, B, and C. So always work on effectively communicating, like Abel 7 said. And then that way, you're leading everybody to the right place. This has been another wonderful episode of, as I like to say, Grunt Speak, but speak grunt. When we come through, we speak to you. Hopefully you drop down in the chat you speak to, because all we want to do is help you, motivate you, and move you to live the life that you desire to. But you got to start by communicating with you and the people around you that care about you. So 11B, 11 Charlie, 11 Alpha 2, you know what to do. Reach out. If you need some help, we got you. And then for my 0311 Marine Corps crew, we support you too. Y'all have a blessed, and wonderful night. We gonna say good night. We gonna see y'all next week at 2030. And I say peace. Boom.
Yo, that's dope. I didn't know you